Meeting the love of your life, feeling swept off your feet, and imagining a fairy tale future. It's the dream of many young girls. Caroline Crouch was no exception. At just 15, she met the charming Babis Anagnostopoulos, a helicopter pilot 12 years her senior. Their love story unfolded like a romance novel. Secret glances, stolen moments, and soon after, elopement. Despite their age difference, Caroline felt deeply in love, believing she had found her prince. But as we know, not all love stories have a happy ending. The beginning of a romance. Born in Athens, Greece in 2001, Caroline had always been adventurous. She loved the ocean, spending her days swimming and scuba diving after her family relocated to the serene island of Alonissos when she was 8. Life was simple and idyllic, until the fateful day in 2017 when she met Babis at a local parade. He was charismatic and wealthy, and he seemed to offer the world. At just 27, Babis was already an accomplished pilot. His confidence and charm were hard to resist, and soon they were inseparable. Their whirlwind romance led to a wedding in Portugal just 3 years later, when Caroline was only 18. It seemed like a story straight out of a fairy tale. The couple had plans to build a dream home. Caroline's parents had gifted her 50,000 euros to buy a plot of land, and they were ready to start their new life with their infant daughter. But behind closed doors, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. A sudden nightmare. On the morning of May 11th, 2021, their love story took a shocking and brutal turn. At 4:30 a.m., masked intruders stormed their suburban Athens home. Babis was violently restrained, blindfolded, and bound with duct tape. But the real horror unfolded in front of Caroline. The intruders demanded money, their greed and violence escalating by the minute. Despite Babis revealing the location of hidden cash, the attackers ransacked the house, searching for more. They even threatened the couple's 11-month-old daughter at gunpoint, driving Caroline into panic. Moments later, a devastating tragedy struck. Caroline was murdered in cold blood. What began as a robbery spiraled into something far darker, shaking the entire nation of Greece. Before we dive any deeper into this story, if you're finding this content insightful and you don't want to miss out on more compelling stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you deep dives, important updates, and stories that really matter, and we don't want you to miss a thing. So go ahead, subscribe now, and join our growing community. A broken investigation. The initial investigation into Caroline's death pointed to a typical home invasion gone wrong, but cracks began to appear in Babis's version of events. As police dug deeper, they couldn't find DNA, fingerprints, or forced entry into the house. The crime scene raised more questions than answers. Why was the memory card removed from their security camera hours before the break-in? Why did neighbors hear no struggle, only the distressed cries of the family's dog? Despite public outcry and a large reward offered for information, the case hit a dead end. But everything changed on June 17, 2021, when police arrested Babis Caroline's own husband. The fairy tale had officially turned into a nightmare. The truth behind the love story. It wasn't intruders who took Caroline's life. Babis had orchestrated the entire event, trying to cover up his growing control and abuse over Caroline. Behind their picture-perfect social media post was a different story, one of emotional manipulation, control, and isolation. Caroline had confided in her diary about the dark side of their relationship. She had written about intense arguments, doubts about her future with Babis, and her desperate desire to leave. On the night of her murder, Caroline had even attempted to book a hotel room for herself and their daughter, hoping to escape. Through diary entries, Caroline's emotional state became clearer. In one, she wrote, "I love Babis so much that I can't leave him, even though this relationship hurts me." Her pain was palpable. Despite Babis's public display of devotion, behind closed doors, their relationship had crumbled. As police pieced together the truth, more inconsistencies emerged. Caroline's smartwatch data showed she died much earlier than Babis claimed. Fitness data from his own phone revealed that he had been moving around the house at a time he said he was tied up. The facade of a random attack shattered. Babis had committed the unthinkable, a life taken too soon. As details of the investigation emerged, Caroline's story transformed from one of love into a cautionary tale of manipulation and control. The cracks had been there all along. Caroline's elopement at such a young age was one of the first signs of Babis's controlling nature. Isolating her from family, making her financially dependent on him, these were all part of a calculated pattern to keep her trapped. Yet Caroline had tried to fight back. She wanted to leave, to start a new life with her daughter. The tragic conclusion. In the end, Babis was sentenced for Caroline's murder, and her story became a symbol of the dangers of toxic relationships and emotional abuse. What had begun as a fairy tale ended in unimaginable heartbreak. The world was left to mourn a bright young woman who had her whole life ahead of her, a life filled with dreams, love, and endless possibilities. Caroline Crouch's tragic story is a haunting reminder that not all love stories have happy endings. Sometimes the darkest chapters are hidden behind the facade of perfection. As we reflect on the tragic life of Caroline Crouch, we are reminded of how appearances can often hide a much darker reality. What seemed like a fairy tale love story was, in truth, a tale of control, isolation, and ultimately, loss. Caroline's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers of emotional and psychological abuse and how silence can lead to devastating consequences. Let her story serve as a beacon for those who may be suffering in silence. There is help, and there is a way out. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out to a local support organization. Thank you for watching this deep dive into a story that captivated the world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more stories that matter. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.